One.
All right, here we
Yay.
are.
Woohoo. Hey, aloha, love tribe. What's up? Welcome to the Bitcoin Piece of Music podcast. I have somebody here who is rocking Pleb Minor Month. This is my friend John. And John, tell me, I don't want to brutalize the way that you say your last name.
Sure.
Is it DiGiacomo? How do I
Hey,
say your
that's
last
about
name?
as close as you can get. It's it's
DiGiacomo?
it's DiGiacomo, yeah.
DiGiacomo. John
hmm
DiGiacomo. Do you say DiGiacomo or
No,
DiGiacomo?
it's just straight up a chat Italian. Yeah, no French mixed in there.
Woohoo! Well, I'm so grateful that you're taking time to do the whole Pleb Minor Month and teach all of us little newbies about what is mining and why is it good for all of humanity to become Bitcoin miners.
Yeah.
So, yay! Welcome to the show. So, yeah,
Thanks for
what's
having me.
tell us like what's Pleb Minor Month?
Pleb Minor Month is a series of pods, short pods, long form pods, interviews, articles, bite-sized bitcoins, which are just short, sharp, kind of educational pieces to tell you about one aspect of Bitcoin in general. um, where every day we're launching one of those things, whether it be a long form pod, a short form pod, an article about something, and we're pairing that with a giveaway. And hopefully the giveaways can inspire people to mine at home or, just at least get into educating yourself more about mining.
Let's talk about it. So, okay, so you and Max is on his way, but you guys are
X
the
is
the
on his way.
hosts
Yeah.
of the Bit by Bit podcast, and you also so on ungovernablemisfits.com is where you
Mhm.
guys have everything. And so is this where everybody can go find and learn about the Pleb Minor Month?
It is, yeah. And first of all, the bit by bit pod is belongs to Max Bit by Bit.
Okay,
I just show up there every once in a while to do some stuff,
cool.
and especially for Pleb Minor Month, that's kind of a joint operation between him and myself and my wife and his partner on Ungovernable Misfits, Mr. Crown.
Mr. Crown.
Mr.
Let's
Crown, yeah, really
woohoo.
mysterious name there.
Uh-huh. I like it.
So,
Um,
people can listen on the Bit by Bit pod, either preferably on Fountain, of course, so they can
mhm.
stream Sats and they can boost and everything, and using the podcasting 2.0 apps. But they can also go to ungovernablemisfits.com, go to the Pleb Minor Month section that Mr. Crown has set up real nice there, and you can access the articles, you can access the pods, all the bite-sized stuff, or you can buy some gear. We've got a hoodie and a T-shirt with the Pleb Minor Month Pleb Minor skull on it.
Hold on, I
Where
gotta go
they,
there. Let me go to the hoodie and the t-shirt. Is that over in the store? Here we go.
yeah,
Ooh, look at that. Okay,
I'm
so
I'm
we're
lurking in the background.
there
Can
you
anyone
are,
hear me?
lurker.
hello, background lurker.
Hello. How you doing?
Aloha, Max. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting us on.
Heck yeah. We were just kind of going over what is Pleb Minor Month and checking out your cool website and trying to help everybody understand, why it's important to become a pleb minor and what even is a pleb minor for some people who don't know. So, yeah, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are both here. Uh, so cool. Yeah, do you guys okay, so we've got all this stuff going on. I mean, what's the main what is a pleb miner, number one, and why is it so important that for the Bitcoin network, why should we all try to engage in mining at some level or another?
Sure. A pleb miner is essentially what Satoshi was when he first started mining. He was just a guy. He was in his basement or garage, wherever he was, and he built something that he believed in. And he started mining. He started validating blocks, and he got his friends involved in it, and just built out from there. I'm not sure what Satoshi's vision of what mining was going to be.
Mhm.
uh, you'd have to imagine that he understood that there was going to be big mining institutions that were going to be, doing all this proof of work. But we can't always depend on the large mining institutions to do everything for us, because, of course, just setting up a large mine like that, how many regulatory hurdles did you go through? How many hoops did you jump through? And what would you be willing to do in order to stay in business? So I believe a pleb miner is somebody that is willing to defend the network, to keep Bitcoin going the way it is, without the influence of large government or large corporations.
And so we've seen that obviously with like Compass Mining, they got
Sure.
kind of whacked over in Russia, right? And so it's like we don't want to have all of the miners concentrated. We want to have as many things distributed as possible. Is that a good example of why we should have more pleb miners in addition to, obviously we've got the big scale guys, but
This part of it, I'll kind of take this one because I was actually fucked over by Compass personally. One of many people who were. So yeah, part of it is obviously you want to decentralize things, and you have the regulatory risk with these bigger companies who will bend the knee very quickly, whereas a pleb miner is less likely to. But also, in the same way that not your keys, not your coins, it's not your hosting, not your hash. So I learned very quickly and very hard that I did not own those miners, and nothing I could do could save the fact I was losing money. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is like owning your own hardware, being in control, and that's kind of the whole Bitcoin ethos.
And what would you recommend so somebody like myself, who I'm not that technical, I'm kind of I'm a DJ and I know how to plug in a few chords here, but I'm certainly not like an electrician, and I'm not, I don't know how to use a saw. So I'm like, how would I like set something up and that would be, useful for the network and obviously useful for myself as a Bitcoiner, like in a simple way?
Yeah, mining isn't for everybody, and we're certainly not encouraging people to get into mining that aren't set up for it. But you kind of said it yourself that you're a DJ and you plug in chords. So as far as a miner goes, you take a simple machine like an S9, or even it doesn't even have to be an S9. You can go further up into newer gen machines that are more efficient, and you only have 2 plugs. You've got your power in, and then you've got your Ethernet. So you're kind of used to doing those kind of things with DJing. But say that you entered one of our S9 giveaways on a Sunday. Last Sunday we gave away 1 or 2 Sunday. First Sunday that we did it, we gave away 1, and this last Sunday we're giving away 3, and that's 2 S9s and a Dragon Mint T1 from Decentral, like mining and repair in Canada. And so say you won one of those machines that we're giving away, and you got it at your house. The S9s work on 110, so you can plug into a normal outlet and start hashing there. Now, to keep things safe, you'd probably want to lower the wattage, or depending on where you live, you're on the West Coast, so of course your electricity rates are ridiculously high.
Yeah.
But you had hashing the heating on last week, and he lives over on the West Coast, and he runs an S9 all the time. I think on 800 watts. So you lower the wattage. You figure out a way to get rid of the heat in the summertime and harness the heat in the wintertime, and you just start hashing away. It really can be as simple as that. And once you learn the basics of how to mine, how to set the miner up, how to get rid of waste heat, how to point it to a pool, get an understanding of how much Bitcoin this thing can generate if you're on a pool, then you can kind of either scale up or say, hey, I don't think this is for me. But if you were interested in mining not in your home, then there's plenty of people that will host miners for you that aren't Compass Mining.
And so do you feel, and again, I'm not trying to shit on Compass Mining or anybody.
You can shit on them all you want.
I am. Yeah, do it. Shit on them.
But I guess, from a CYA perspective, cover your ass perspective, how do you go forward? Because there's Rob from Upstream Data is going to be on the show on Thursday, and he's also got distributed hash that he's partner in. And so I'm curious, like, they'll host your miners and they'll run everything for you, which sounds like a good idea. But how would I protect myself from any situation so I don't accidentally get screwed like what happened with Compass Mining?
Run your own miner.
Just have it at my house and run it.
Well, because then the only person who can mess you up is yourself. So, like if you really want the best setup, it's run it yourself, host it yourself. Obviously, there are going to be situations where someone can't do that. So it might be because of cost of power, and they just think, well, this is just crazy. Like here in Europe, it's just mental, which is something that would draw people to like a hosting solution. Or it could be space. Some people just literally won't have the space to host one of these things, and the noise is going to be too much and everything else. But I would say, like, if there's any way that you can, and it might mean getting creative, the best way to protect yourself is to be in control.
Yeah, that sounds like good advice. And then what
That
about
said, like there are going to be other options, and
like what's a target that would be reasonable? And I know that they're fucking fluctuating, especially over in Europe, but like what's a price target for energy?
8 cents, isn't it? Something like that.
8, 10 cents, of course, is good. But things are getting, normal rates are getting up to 12, 13, 14 cents now. So it's hard to say. And for what machine too? There's a lot of variables in there. And as far as figuring those things out, like, well, should I just DC every day or should I mine at home? The best thing to do is just go to like the Brains Insights mining calculator and just plug in different things and see what's right for you. But that's not the only metric to think about, though. In my opinion, is what's my rate and what's my efficiency and stuff like that. We'll be releasing a bite-sized Bitcoin here soon called Cost to Mine, where I kind of break those things down to you. But to me, there's like kind of unmentionable things that would factor into whether you would want to mine or what machine you would want to buy or what price point and everything. That takes a lot more study, and that's kind of a deeper dive. But yeah, okay, if you want to break it down, sure, 10 cents is a good rate to have. But that's if you're selling Bitcoin right now when you mine. Like, say you mine enough to have a reward payout every week. Are you selling every week? That's something that you have to factor in. What's your value, the extra value that you put on the KYC, the no KYC aspects of mining? That's another thing that you have to factor in. I mean, there's all these things beyond just price machine efficiency. Cost to mine is a simple calculation, but should you mine is a far more complicated calculation.
Yeah, I think like, when I was as somebody I'm still new to Bitcoin, like a little over a year new, but I'm like, I fucking get it. And this is the future. And I'm 1,000,000,000% in. And how can I help support and get adoption out there? And, a few things for me, like I want to get no KYC Bitcoin for my future. I want to have heat for my house. I live in the mountains. It's cold as fuck. And, and I want to help, have more decentralization. And so those are kind of my 3 reasons as a new person and who I want to contribute to this and then be a part of it. And so it's exciting to think about, what John from Hashing to Heating, and, just his project and what everybody's doing. I feel like there's so much that we can do, whether it's laundry mats and get heat for the dryers or the pools or any of the thing, swimming pools and people's hot tubs. And it's like, yeah, these are good use cases. It's like, who's out there is anybody out there as a business, a company, consultant that is helping businesses, like small businesses, let's say a laundromat, convert because they're going to have to generate all that heat for those dryers. And I'm like, why don't we get some, ability to like teach people about Bitcoin while they're drying their clothes too? You know what I mean? Like, what a cool way to do this. Cause it's recession proof. Like people are always going to need to dry their clothes. Obviously you can hang them out but if you're in the freaking cold, they're going to get icicles on them. So, around most of the first world, we use heat for dryers. So why the fuck not mine with that?
Yeah.
Do you guys know anybody who's doing that?
That's something everybody's pushing towards right now. 2 people that are kind of leading the way that are involved in Pleb Miner Month and have already kind of dropped podcasts that you can go ahead and check in and listen to is Tech Engineer.
Ooh, okay.
And Michael Schnitzelli, I think his name is on Twitter. Both of those guys are developing systems to try to harness waste heat just from simple machines like S9s. Michael Schmidt has is that Nakamoto Heating Solutions.
Okay.
They have a YouTube channel. They just released a couple YouTube videos where they take an S9 and they have it kind of immersed, and they have like a small pump going around the S9 to pick up that fluid and heat it up. And then from there, you can pump it out to whatever application that you need. And Tech Engineer has a similar setup where these are both immersion setups, and you can take that loop of heat and take it out somewhere and heat up a pool. Coin Heated is another guy that is doing that. He heated his pool in Minnesota to the point where it was steaming, and it was 0 degrees, minus 10 degrees outside, and that pool was steaming.
Wow.
So there are guys that can do that on the hobbyist level right now. It's just scaling that to the industrial level, I think, is the part that we need to jump over. And guys like Hashing Heating are really doing a great job of that, with his giant resource of collecting all these names and all these people. And
I know his resource, that resource page on his site is like, oh my gosh, I could spend a week there. It's so good.
Yeah, and he's really done a lot of yeoman's work to try to call these people and talk to them on the phone and try to understand what their vision is for what they want to do with harnessing waste heat. So it's coming. We're really close.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, what do you guys think is the biggest obstacle that we're facing right now with getting more plebs on board, like mining?
I think still like a lot of it's information personally. And I think the narrative around Bitcoin for most people is this kind of stack sats every day and dollar cost average, and sign up to your friendly KYC service, and that's kind of like the way in for most people. As John was saying, the way this started was not that. This was people mining. This was people. There was no such thing as KYC. It was nothing. It was not involved at all until a few years ago, and I think as people realize quite how dangerous and stupid it is to expose yourself unnecessarily to KYC, people will start coming around to this idea. And I think it will become more of a trend and more normalized. When it becomes more normalized, the conversations on these podcasts and the information that's put out there should change. And I think that's really what it is. It's a narrative thing, because as we've just said, like, there's no good reason not to do it. For most people anyway, everyone needs heat. So, as long as you can harness that, you can offset that against your costs. You protect your privacy, and so you protect your future self. You decentralize the network, and you don't rely on anyone. That sounds pretty Bitcoiny to me.
Yeah, it sounds super Bitcoiny to me. I was listening to one of your episodes just recently. You were talking with Diverter, and the whole KYC thing is a big deal, obviously, for a variety of reasons. And there's the trade-offs of getting people who are new and completely clueless and think that Bitcoin is, just a bunch of shadowy super coders and it's kind of scary and whatever. That, getting that narrative to move forward to like, no, this is like the future of the human race with our money, and why it's so important to have this money. What do you say to, like, obviously, like, I love Pacific Bitcoin and Swan and Sailor's going to be there and all this great stuff to get the kind of normies, and like Fidelity is going to possibly be offering this to their 34 million customers. Like, how do we balance the need for privacy and security and no KYC with adoption?
We won't for a while, because the incentives are too strong for the people you mentioned to make lots of money. So they will do that, and then people will get burned. And then when they get burned, they will realize. I've done it. I've used KYC. Most people do it. They come in. I'm not someone who's like so fanatical that I'm going to attack people for using it. I understand why people do. It's like the obvious way to get in. But I do think it's going to bite people in the arse as governments start to get more concerned about what this does and the power it takes from them. And so, I think we're not going to stop these companies from doing what they're doing. And I don't think they're necessarily bad, because it does protect people. It protects people's wealth. And for some people, that's the first thing they need to do, is protect their wealth, and they're not so worried about their privacy at that stage. But I think to counterbalance things, we need to put the information out there. And I think that's what me and John and everyone involved in Pleb Miner Month is trying to do, is to say, okay, that's one option. Here's another.
It seems like there's like kind of concentric layers of like how people get involved with Bitcoin, right? And it's like, okay, get your feet wet. Okay, go get a few sats on the Coinbase or whatever. And then you realize, oh, fuck that. I got to get my stuff off. Like, what would you say to people who've gone the KYC route and they're holding, they move their stuff to self custody and to cold storage, et cetera. And what would you say to folks who bought all their stuff on KYC? Would you say like, go back? And because I've been told by some folks who are really, big privacy advocates, they're like, go sell your Bitcoin back from where you bought it and then go rebuy KYC. And I'm like, or non KYC. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious, like, because you're already on the radar of being a customer of these companies.
I think that's a good Max question there.
I think it's an individual thing, isn't it? For someone who is here and they understand that this thing's probably going to become much more valuable in the future, and they trust their government, and they want to hold it for a certain amount of time and then exchange it for slave notes so they can go back into the fiat system, I don't see a problem, as long as they're prepared to pay their taxes and all the rest of it, and they want to sell that Bitcoin. That's okay. They do carry some risks because they're giving all their information over to third parties who generally tend to not keep it very secure. And then people you might not want to have your information will have your information and your door number and your picture and everything else. And when it becomes very, very valuable, that should probably be thought of. But yeah, for that sort of person, it's like, well, if that's what you want, that's fine. But then if you're someone who's saying, well, I think this can change the world, I think there are major problems in government, I think that we want more freedom, and I think things are going to get really bad before they get better, then just consider, like, who do you want having this information on you? What could that lead to? And then how valuable is that to you to protect your identity? And if it's 2%, 5%, something like that, well, you could go and have it no KYC. So I don't think it would be right to say that anything's wrong or anything's right. It's just a personal thing. And for me, it's not something I would touch again.
Got it. Yeah. And so as a miner, obviously we can hold the Bitcoin that we mine from the pool. If that works. I just saw an article, I think it was yesterday, from Bitcoin Magazine, that there was a gentleman, I believe in Texas, the Bitcoin doctor, or Dr. Bitcoin.
Dr. Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, who's now going to be serving some time because of not having a money transmitter license for selling some of his Bitcoin that he mined. And
yeah, I think that I skimmed over that article a little bit. There was something about like a Nigerian prince kind of scam being folded into that. I didn't look too deeply into the article, but I think there are certain methods that a small scale miner can use to where you're not exposed on the KYC side. So as far as like a small scale miner goes, like, listen, your electricity bill is going to go up. There's no doubt about that. You're going to have costs as far as acquiring the machine, maintaining the machine, so on and so forth. Every once in a while, you're going to need to sell some sats to maintain your mining operation. That's just the way it is. In a perfect world, I never would have sold any sats from mining ever. That's just not the way it worked out. There's a certain realistic way to do it. But there are methods that a home miner can use to exchange sats for slave notes, as Max likes to say. One of the things is byte refill. You can exchange for gift cards on there. So for instance, if say I had hit a block, which I've never hit a block, I've never made any money off mining whatsoever. But if I were in that situation, that's a joke. If I were in that situation, you've got a set number of bills at home. You've got grocery bills, you've got, car repair bills, so on and so forth. So one strategy would be, I need to, we only have so much money in the pot and we have so much money going out. Why don't this month we pay for our groceries with sats using Byte Refill, exchange for a Walmart gift card or another grocery store gift card? That's one way to do it. But I think one of the most creative ways to do it is to build relationships. And that's kind of what Pleb Minor Month is about also, is to get new people out there to talk to plebs and talk to Bitcoiners about mining and about the things that we do. It's like you see the same faces all the time out there on Twitter talking about mining. Well, we're trying to bring different people up to the stage to let you hear their story about how they got into mining and the little tiny things that they do. But that's all part of building relationships, to get these people out there and you meet people and you meet different plebs. And one thing I think is a good idea is to have a trading partner. I talked to a guy the other day on the phone, and we had, thought of maybe we can have some kind of arrangement where his DCA needs are more than what I'm able to offer, on my scale of mining, but I could be one of 2, 3, 4 trading partners that he can have, where the sats that I get, I can sell to him on a regular basis. There's also other platforms that are coming up. Peach, friends of ours, Max and I, that are working on the Peach app that they released in Riga, where it's kind of like a peer-to-peer exchange on that. There's no KYC involved in that besides whatever information you give up to the bank. Because what you do is you say, I'm going to put a sell order up on Peach, 1.52% over market price. That matches somebody's buy order. You get paired up. They send you some fiat currency to whatever bank account you have set up in there. You verify it. You go back on the app and you say, yep, I got that. And it will release the escrow to them. So it isn't just I'm a miner, and if I need to exchange sats for fiat currency, while I'm back into the KYC, death spiral.
Yeah, holy shit, man. The spiral that's going on right now is just like, I don't know. I've been like, this last couple of months, I'm just sort of sitting looking out. I'm like, that calm before the storm. Like, I mean, you look like you guys were around for 08. I don't know about you, Max, but because I can't see your face and how old you are, but John, you look like you're somewhere in my world.
Was it the gray beard that gave it away?
Yeah, my wrinkles match your gray beard, bro. But like right when 08 was happening, just the vibe of the world felt so crazy and weird. And I don't know. I just entered. I feel like something's gonna just explode here, which doesn't feel good. Yeah, it's really intimidating. How long have you guys both been in Bitcoin?
No,
I've been looking around. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, you can go on after that, lurker. I'd say I first got into Bitcoin maybe like 2011, 2012.
Cool.
And that was right into, downloading Bitcoin Core on a computer and turning on the mining functionality of that. And I didn't do all the research. I didn't DYOR onto Bitcoin. It was just a thing that, was of interest. And I kind of let it go, and I didn't get back in till 2017, when it started to go back up. And I had wished that I had never got out. Of course, everybody has that sort of regret thing, but pretty steady since 2017 and mining since 2019.
2019. Cool. What's the biggest like aha that you've had since you started mining? Like, have you had any new realizations about the world, about Bitcoin, about just,
I've always been kind of a red pill, black pill kind of guy. So I've always been a libertarian leaning. I was in the Marine Corps, and I got out of the Marine Corps in 2000. I think a lot of, especially Marines in particular, have a certain disdain for authority. And it's something that the Marine Corps does to you. It's like, here you have the finest fighting force in the world, but everybody's a miserable son of a bitch. And so I've always kind of had that disdain for authority and to question authority. So I don't know if Bitcoin has brought me to any large revelations about my view of the government or, global powers. I'd say I probably was more of like a right-leaning guy, and now I'm just a straight up anarchist. So maybe maybe that's what Bitcoin has done to me on the philosophical level.
Right on. I love that. And what about you, Max? How long have you been in Bitcoin, and how has it changed your worldview?
Yeah, I was a lot later, so I didn't actually start until 2017, like end part of 2017. I don't know how I missed it because it was quite aligned to a lot of my sort of thinking previously anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I missed it, and how has it changed me? I don't know. I think it's just given me like inner peace. It's given me like this comfort of I don't trust what's going on. I never have. And I'd sort of got to a point of just accepting the fact that I'd be slightly on the outside and that they would continue to fuck everyone over. And now I have this inner peace where I'm like, well, things can get really bad, but firstly, I have the best money and they can't have it. No matter what they do, they can't have this. And that makes me happy because I think of their smug faces and I just think, you never, ever have this. Fuck you. And secondly, I feel very happy because I've found, yeah, fuck you. Never having it.
Never gonna
And then
get it, never
secondly,
gonna get
I
it.
feel like comfortable because I've found
Sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
it's something about that.
I was gonna jump in with a whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm sorry, Max. Keep going, brother.
It's all right. It's all right.
Well, okay, dude, I
can't
I
remember
I
where
really
got to
feel
now.
you on the inner
The singing
peace
was
part.
so good it threw me off.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if you can relate to this too, John, but like that the inner peace, seriously, like even though it does feel like there's like the doom rock from Raiders of the Lost Ark like chasing us down, it's almost like, yeah, fuck you, we're cool. And there is something to be said about the community and the integrity of the community and the heart and the soul of the community, you know, and that's you know, the fact that this is sound money and there's all these just absolutely wonderful humans who are supporting this. It's like, it's not just, you know, you think of like the 60s, like the peace movement, the summer of love and all this great stuff, right? That's what I feel like the vibe of.
That was a communist psyop.
Well, just the love. I'm just the peace, love, and granola, right? I love it. I'm a hippie. There you go. But the people who want to make the world fair and fuck the people who don't. And they didn't have the monetary tools to do so. They had the philosophy of this is wrong and what you guys are doing is wrong, but there wasn't the ability to you know, have something that could back it up as a tool like Bitcoin. And so I feel like we're at such an interesting point in history because it does have this fuck the system ethos and there's the tool. It's not just let's go wave a flag and sing a couple cool songs. It's much more powerful than that. And so it to me, that's, I get so excited about it because it's I've always had that like inner feeling of like this something's really wrong here, but I can't exactly put my finger on it, but I know that this isn't the way that things should be for humans. Like this is fucked up. So I don't know.
You
So
know, you kind of asked like, well, how did Bitcoin change you? That's like a common question.
Even if you can
amongst
put
all
your
this
finger
stuff.
on it, there was never a.
Go ahead, Max. That's a hell of a delay there.
I've got a massive lag. I've got a real bad delay here. Always the technical issues from me. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, firstly, on your point on the people, it's really where the value is here. Me and John have talked about this quite often. Is like, even if Bitcoin was to completely fail, it's not a loss because you've met some of the most incredible people in the world. And you know, it's just like, it's a really special thing because
Ah,
Yeah,
we lost you, Max.
getting Max jitters.
Max, come back to us.
fuck's sake.
Are you there, buddy?
Good.
We lost Max. But you're right. But Max was saying, I think, John, too, just even not that Bitcoin will ever fail, but if it did, we have each other. Like
Yeah.
now we're buds, we're friends for life,
Yeah,
right?
I think I can kind of expound on
Yeah,
what he
go
was
for it.
talking about, because it is something that we've had a lot of conversations about lately. And is, if this all fails, everything that we're doing, that in the long run it didn't fail, because we met a lot of people like
Mhm.
who we were all looking for in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like when we make Bitcoin friends, on Twitter, that kind of sounds childish, but when we do that, we've already jumped over 90% of the hurdles that you jump over when you first meet somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, how are we aligned? The biggest divergence of opinion, I think, as far as plebs goes, is maybe like the ESG aspect of things or the environmental aspect of things. I know, like you had Hashing the Heating on, he and I kind of disagree a lot on some of the environmental things, like how we can save the planet. And, we've got some opinions that match up and some that don't. But as far as like your ethos goes, your personal ethos, it's usually about 80-90% aligned. So just to be able to find those people is a victory. No matter if Bitcoin disappears tomorrow, we'll just move on to the next thing that'll, secure sovereignty for humans. That's all that we're going for anyhow. We just think Bitcoin is currently the best tool to do that.
It is, and I feel like it's almost like this instant, and I compare Bitcoin, the ethos of the community and the people, to burners, like Burning Man, people who go to Burning Man. And so it's almost like you automatically have this set of shared values that's just like kind of instant, like you get it, and I think it's such a cool opportunity. You don't have to sit and go through the bullshit of the getting to know you phase. It's already like, oh, you're
Yeah.
a Bitcoiner. I already know a lot about you. If you say that, like, you're Bitcoin only, like I know a lot about a person. We all do if we have that in common. And so then from there, it's kind of like, cool. Okay. You like music? I like music. Yeah. Okay. All the other fun things can go happen on that. But it is a really interesting mission. And it's just, it fascinates me. It's still the mystery of Satoshi. But like when I first started learning about Bitcoin, I was just like, what do you mean? There's this dude who just threw out this paper and then he split? I don't get it. I'm like, that seems a little fishy, And of course, everybody must think that because that's never happened before. Right. And so, but then once you start getting more involved in understanding the way the central banks and the governments are and how they do, it probably wouldn't have been safe for Satoshi to like be alive or in the public eye because he could get manipulated or hurt. It makes a lot more sense. And then once you understand what is money, and I thought I knew what money was, right? Because I'm like, yeah, I ran businesses and I worked at Deloitte and Touche. Like, of course I know what money is. Yeah. And then I was like, I didn't know shit. I got to go unlearn everything and relearn things. So it felt very humble. Okay, switching it. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, so I just feel like it's been it's a journey, and it's nice that we're on it together and giving each other support, because I feel like we need it, and I love what you guys are doing with Pleb Minor Month. What's been like, has there been anybody that you've come across so far? It's what is it, the 13th today? It's the 12th or 13th?
It's the 13th. Yep.
So during Pleb Minor Month, have you run across any new plebs that are just like, fuck yeah, that's so great, and they're like getting their lives turned around because of Pleb Minor Month and starting to mine?
It has been really exciting to see all the people come out on both sides, on the pleb miner side and on the pleb side that are interested in getting into mining. There's been a lot of people that have reached out. First of all, I just want to thank all the people that have reached out that said that they would donate machines, donate their time, donate their effort. I mean, as far as like on our little personal Telegram group to try to organize everything and decide who's going to do what content and everything, we've got 30 something guys in there,
Wow.
that are willing to take. It takes a long, this podcasting game, it takes a long time to create content.
Yep.
And even some of like these bite-sized Bitcoins, I'd encourage everybody to tune in, throughout the month, the bite-sized Bitcoins. Me personally, I'm very slow at everything. And so when I write a bite-sized Bitcoin script, it takes me a couple hours, and then it takes me like another hour to record the whole thing because I have to do it all at once because I don't want Max to have too much editing. It's like that's just from me. A lot of these guys have donated a lot of time to put out this content for nothing. It's like we're giving everybody a t-shirt that's involved in the group. It's like
Nice.
I had spent 25, 30 hours of my life, and all I got was this stupid t-shirt, kind of deal.
But we
So,
got 100 more miners, pleb miners on board.
We did. Yeah. We're further decentralizing the network. It wasn't day one, day two that I had people reaching out to me and say, hey, I got an old S9 sitting in a storage container. I mean, these are guys that, have pretty substantial mining operations. Yeah, I'd be willing to give that. Do you want me to mail it to you? Do you want me to mail it to the winner that you pick? What do you want me to do with this? And it was just like the next day, here's another guy. And then, like I said, Decentral offered a brand new machine, which I think those things are valued at like $1,000.
Wow.
Hey, we'll give it in on their website for repairs and such. If you send so many machines to get repaired, they're giving you 15% off.
Nice.
Just all these people that came out of the woodwork. Max and I did a decent amount of legwork to try to secure some sponsors, and everything that we get as far as like fountain boosts and everything, it's just going towards shipping for all the stuff. We've got so much stuff to give away, but we can talk about that later.
Well, I want to hear though, like where can people, like you said, the bite-sized Bitcoin stuff, like, is that like on like all on Twitter, or where's that content?
It's on the site. So if you go to podcast, they'll all be on there, and then they're also on every podcasting app. So
Bite-sized Bitcoin.
Apple
Cool.
and
Okay, got it.
and yeah, they're all in the same feed as all the other podcasts. But actually, we need to do some organization here because they're not all in the right places. But we will do that. But they're all in the same feed.
Okay, cool. So then basically go to Fountain and you'll get all the bite size, plus you'll get the regular episodes and stuff.
Yes. Yeah,
Groovy.
you will do.
Okay, cool. How are you guys doing with Fountain? What do you guys, how is that working out? Do you feel like it's a good opportunity for people to start engaging in different ways, like sending sats? Like, how are you doing with the value for value and all that?
Well, I personally think it's incredible.
Nice.
I think it's a really nice way for content creators to get value from the people who are hopefully getting value from their content. And I think it kind of stops some of these bad incentives with a lot of content creators having to take on shitty sponsors that then really hurt their listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a hard slog, isn't it? Trying to put the content out. A lot of time goes into it. It's very, very hard to earn anything from it. And the temptation is always there. There's always a shitty sponsor who is willing to give you money to shill their product or service. And at some point, it is a ticking time bomb. And the people that you build up trust with, they are going to get hurt. So with something like Fountain, this can, I mean, not yet, because at the moment, you're not earning enough to put the lights on or anything like that. But the building blocks are there. And I think that's really, really cool. And it's really cool to have the boosts and get the messages coming through. A little bit of interaction there is really, really nice. And I just think this is something that's going to evolve. It's very, very early. Not that many people are using it, but it makes sense to me. What about you? Are you on there yet? Or
yeah, I'm on Fountain, and honestly, like, I love those guys. I think they're doing a great job. I struggle sometimes with the interface a little bit, so I need to spend a little bit more time over there as a listener and as a podcaster. So it's just like you said, there's so many tentacles and variables when you're consuming content and producing content, particularly. And I don't have any sponsors. The only thing I ever even mention occasionally on my links is Cold Card, because it's like, here's something for people to go get. But it's there's trade-offs, and it's kind of like, okay, I haven't wanted to have, can you guys hear me okay? Cause I have a weird little,
Yeah.
okay,
No,
cool.
I can hear you perfect.
And totally agree. Like, I think about like people who've got these really big podcasts, and they do unfortunately have like the shitcoin casinos on there, but they're getting the reach out there and they're putting good content out to like a lot of people. And so it's like the KYC trade-off, right? It's kind of like you get all these, you get more reach and more activation for new folks. And then, because to me, is if all I got exposed to like a year and a half ago was like hardcore Bitcoiners, I may not have understood it enough, and I think I needed that sort of concentric layer of like, okay, let's start getting myself deeper into like what it means to be like a true Bitcoiner versus like, I'm just kind of dipping my toes in the water out here. So I think there's a a place for everything, but I think it can wreck listeners. And that's important to me as somebody who's wanting to be of the utmost integrity with people who listen to the show too.
Right. So you think about somebody that's first getting into Bitcoin, and they do hear all that great signal that they get from the bigger shows, because the bigger shows, even though I think most of them are shills, at heart, they do get a lot of good content out there. So say you're somebody new coming into Bitcoin, you say, okay, well, how do I get into it? It's got to be these KYC rails. It's got to be these like corporate-y type financial avenues to get into Bitcoin. But at the same time, they'll give a 10, 15-minute ad read for all of these large financial Bitcoin type institutions, and then give you the whole capitalist rant after that. It's like, well, who are you? But with the podcasting 2.0 stuff, you can get right into the signal. Let's skip the 15-minute shills. Let's skip the pausing the podcast halfway through to talk about shilling, and then go right back into black pilling. It sends a big mixed message to a lot of new plebs, and I see them all the time. Like even amongst people who are miners and stuff now. Just saw a chat the other day talking about BlockFi, and I can't get all my stuff out of BlockFi, and why did I ever sign up for that credit card, and why did I do this, and I really had to KYC the shit out of myself. Or if you had just skipped over all that shilling bullshit and went right to the signal, went right to all the things that podcasters want to say, but then they have to dilute their message with all this shilling. Podcasting 2.0, if you don't like the shilling, just listen to stuff on Fountain and Boost and fuck all that other bullshit.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Max, go ahead.
So I was just going to say on that, like a big thing as well is you can have someone, I agree with all of what you said. And I do think some of these bigger pods, they do have some good content, but then the problem you have is someone can listen to it and they understand, oh, okay, Bitcoin's really important for XYZ reason. I get it. This is great. And then they build up trust with that person, and they keep listening to the show, and they keep buying Bitcoin. And then they listen to a lending platform shill at the beginning and in the middle of that pod. They put all their Bitcoin into that lending platform because they're told they're going to get yield. They lose it all. How do you think they're going to feel about Bitcoin going forward? How do you think their friends and family and wife and kids are going to feel when they've lost everything? And so what it actually does is, on one hand, yes, they're getting out a good message about Bitcoin, although slightly diluted and not quite right. But on the other hand, they're then fucking these people over so badly that they're never going to come back. So I think for the space, it's very, very bad. For the people, it's very bad. And the only person who benefits is the company and the person who's taking the sats in the back pocket just to say, thank you very much. I'll sell something that I know is bad for money. And for me, that's not Bitcoin. This is meant to be anti-establishment. This is meant to be standing up and saying we're not having this anymore. So I don't feel comfortable with that kind of thing. I don't think it has a place in Bitcoin. And I think that podcasting 2.0, it is early, but it definitely can help with this.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's super important what you said, Max, about people trusting the content creators and then getting wrecked is huge. And then them saying, fuck this, I'm never coming back because I trusted this person who's got 1 million followers or whatever, something kind of large like that. And then it really does pollute the mindset of people going forward, right? It puts the poison in, and obviously it's like, yeah, do your own research, all these things. But the reality of a lot of people, they think they're doing their own research by listening to these people who've got these large audiences. So they think like, yeah, look at me. I've watched all these videos or I've listened to all these episodes, and it must be a good company that they're promoting because look at all the traction that this creator has. And so I think it's a sensitive slope for sure that people, I think, really need to treat with a lot more care, as a creator. And so, yeah, I'm this is why I have no sponsors. But I mean, I want to promote like the people who are true Bitcoiners and true Bitcoin only companies, that's important to me. And so I've been in this, like, I just want to learn more and kind of do some due diligence on things before I even say anything about anything else. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna make like an analogy here. Part of this podcast is music, right? So one of the first pod that I ever did with Max was called what was it, Max? Home Mining Bitcoin is Punk Rock.
Nice.
I think. And we had talked about punk music for a long time throughout that pod. And I had been in punk for a long time, since the 80s, since I was a kid. And when the grunge, era came out, and this is Seattle grunge, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, when they came out, I was already listening to Mudhoney, long before Nirvana ever came out. And when Nirvana came out and Pearl Jam came out and Soundgarden came out, it was like, who the fuck are these guys? This isn't punk. These guys are sellouts. Everybody was a sellout from then on. And I became even more punk, even more into that, because I'll show you how punk I am. Not even listening to any of this kind of stuff. So I just see the same parallels in the Bitcoin community. It's like maybe Satoshi was the first punk. Maybe Satoshi's the Sex Pistols. And you start getting into other layers of punk, and then you kind of have all the shills. You have the large mining, institutional miners. You have the lending platforms. You have the yield platforms. You have the DeFi. You have all this stuff that people want to put on top of this grungy 4-chord garage band music, just so they can make a bunch of money off of it. But it's like, stay punk, stay pleb. That's the way that I always want to be.
Fuck yeah! That's what maybe you guys put a T-shirt up, "Stay punk, stay pleb" on your store. That would be kind of cool.
I'll do
like that.
Mr. Crown, get on that right now.
There you go, Mr. Crown. Let's go.
And it's done.
Just like that.
Boom shakalaka. I love it. Okay, well, let's talk really quick about music, guys. Like, okay, top jam, like for getting yourself in like I'm gonna go fucking seize the day.
Cro-Mags.
Cro-Mags? Is this a punk? I have to admit, I'm not.
That's an old New York, like CBGB type era punk band. Cro-Mags. For any guy that just wants to go fuck shit up, listen to Cro-Mags for a little bit.
Any song in particular?
No, not that I can think of.
Right, just go get some Cro-Mags, Cro-Magnon. Let's go. What about you, Max?
I don't think I have one. When I really want to get riled up, I actually don't listen to music. I know that's weird.
It's not.
So yeah, I don't think I have one to get really riled up.
Well, do you have one to get sexy?
I don't ever get sexy either.
Do you have one to go, let's get it on?
He's English. He doesn't get sexy.
Yeah, exactly. We don't get sexy here. We get romantic and hold hands.
Romantic, like a sexy romantic, it's sexy time. It's love romantic time. Do you have any love romantic songs?
Yeah, The Clash.
Oh my God.
Are you ready to rock the Casbah, baby?
Rock the Casbah is your sexy time song. Okay. You gotta have fun in Bitcoin, man. It's not all serious all the time.
It doesn't have to be all doomer all the time.
Before I let you guys go, because I know you're busy and you've got like tons of content and get stuff to get out there. Like, so John, I'm looking at the website here, and it's Pleb Bitcoin miner mom, Sarah. Is that your mom or your
Yeah.
wife?
That is not my mom. That is my wife. She did an interview with Max. That's a good interview. I would suggest listening to it. And I think it's an interesting interview, and kudos to Max for inviting her on.
Yay.
Because you always hear the perspective of the dad, of the guy, doing the mining and stuff like that. But there's a whole family behind that. When we've got these machines screaming downstairs, don't worry, they're right below us and you're not hearing it right now. So the noise mitigation is okay.
Yay.
But, we do it as a family, really. These machines are on all the time. And as Sarah once said, it's kind of like the heartbeat of our home. If we ever have to turn them off, there's a little bit of emptiness here in the house. So it's nice to get the perspective of somebody that's dealt with some kind of psychopath for the past, however many years, and all the different things that I bring upon her and the family in our fight against the globalists. So it's interesting to hear her perspective. But yeah, that's my wife.
Awesome.
That was a great pod.
But that's obviously not a photo of her.
Yeah, that's her.
That's her for real?
No.
Are you fucking with me?
Yes,
I mean, dude, there's Photoshop, so oh my God, I love it. Well, okay, guys. So what's the next step for everybody who's listening here for Pleb Miner Month? Go to ungovernablemisfits.com and go find you guys. What else should people be looking out for so that they can get rocking with y'all?
The hashtag
Pleb Miner Month.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop whoop. Will you guys tag me on anything or do like whatever? I'll be happy to repost any content that you make this month or anytime going forward.
Sure.
But like I'd love to support everything that y'all do, and
you already have by having us on the pod.
Yay!
Yeah, thank you very much.
And you guys are supporting us plebs by teaching us. I mean, isn't it just like, we were just talking earlier about just like the high value system and the integrity of Bitcoiners. Like, I've never met a community that is so generous with their time and their expertise and their wisdom as Bitcoiners. It's just like, it blows my mind, like how much time people want to put in and get the word out and help other people feel safe and confident to move forward on their own Bitcoin journey. It just blows me away.
It's our duty to protect the plebs from the shills.
Yeah. Totally. I know. I love that meme with the big Bitcoiner protecting the pleb that's sleeping in bed from all the
knives,
all the arrows. Yeah.
I love that. Man, memes are so good. They're so perfect and poignant to get the messages across, in such a quick, little, easy way. They're just really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then tell everybody, go to hashtag Pleb Miner Month. You guys can find these guys at Bit by Bit podcast, at Bit by Bit Pod on Twitter. You can find Max at Max Bit by Bit, and it's BUY for those of you guys listening who can't see.
This is so professional. It's all on the screen and just
yeah.
like,
woohoo! Wow. Yay, StreamYard.
It's like a real podcast, man.
This is amazing. This is what I aspire to.
Well, let's collaborate. Like it's funny because I was talking with Svetsky about, like, there's so many of us independent podcaster people out there. And I was talking with a couple other podcasters, and I'm like, I need help editing and I need help with social media. And you guys, it's like, I feel like there's so many of us out here who are just doing this because we love it. And it's like, what if we could get like one super rock star editor who wants to do value for value and split sats, if we can do that. And then same thing with like a social media person. And I was thinking of like Preston Pish, they've got their Investors Podcast Network, right? Like that's pretty badass, but they've got several different podcasts under that kind of hub. I'm like, why don't we do that as Bitcoiners? You know, like, is there something that we could do to
Yeah, there's it kind of exists, but like an unwritten agreement of like, you know, Princey and me are friends and we'll always share each other's stuff and help each other, and if you know, anywhere we can, and like there's that kind of loose agreements where we just help each other. But yeah, I guess the editing and stuff like that, maybe. I've tried it a few times. I've tried paying in sats a few different people to edit. I just wasn't happy. I'm particularly fussy on things, and it just wasn't up to. Yeah, John knows.
Well, it's tough. I mean, and it's like you've got to have a Bitcoiner. You can't, like, I hired a couple different virtual assistants, and it's like there weren't Bitcoiners, and I'm just like,
yeah, you just don't get it.
You don't get it. You're not going to know who to like listen for and look out for, and what are the little nuggets and all that. So it's really important to have somebody who is also that excited, but loves the digging into the content and the tweaking it and making it, you know, and then somebody who's a social media person who's like, all I want to do is be on social media all day and push content, you know? So I'm sure there's a way for us to keep this alive so that we can keep pushing good content out there to the plebs.
Yeah, Valerie, we'll definitely have to reach out to you because we do want to do some sort of video recording for our finale that we're going to have.
Okay.
And we haven't really agreed upon how we're going to get that done. So,
oh, dude, I'd love to help with it. Like anything I can do. And we could, like, if we want to use this platform, I'm just on StreamYard right now. Like, we could totally change, of course, the background and the logo and the colors and all that, and put it in, you know, and stream it out to all your channels too at the same time. So just let me know, and I'm ultra happy to help out.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Plebs, punk rock plebs, let's go. Any last words for the audience?
I just want to say, you know, thanks to everybody that's been tuning in for Pleb Minor Month. And I don't have a large Twitter account, but you know, every day I put out new content of what we're doing and a new giveaway, and everybody that's been interacting with that has been great. And everybody that's been interacting on Fountain, some of the giveaways are go ahead and boost on Fountain so we can help pay for shipping. And there's been a lot of people that have been giving a lot of back and forth there on Fountain. So thanks to all those people.
Totally. What about you, Max?
Yeah, just a massive thank you to everyone who's been involved and giving us the content and helping. And it's blown me away to see how much people are willing to spend their time. It's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, big thank you there. And final thoughts, never bend the knee. Ever, ever, ever.
I love it. Never bend the knee. Okay. Maybe you can make a meme for that. There's a meme for that, you know.
Crown, Mr. Crown.
Mr. Crown, get on that.
Mr. Crown. Yeah, man. Oh my God. Well, thank you both so much for taking time to come on the show and talk with little old me and share.
Thanks, Valerie. It was fun.
Yeah, it was super
awesome.
fun. And yeah, and for the rest of you guys listening, go and check out these guys at Ungovernable Misfits, and definitely follow hashtag Pleb Minor Month and see what's happening. And we'll keep putting all the good stuff forward. And definitely go to fountain.fm, and you guys can support both of the shows and all of your other favorite content creators with some sats or just reposting. It's a really cool tool. So yeah, man, peace, love, and aloha, everybody. Thanks again, John and Max. You guys rock, and can't wait to see what happens during the rest of the month.
Yeah.
Speak soon, hopefully.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
You bet, you guys. All right. Aloha. All right, everybody. Ciao. Have a great day. Woohoo. Yay. All right.